Hi, I'm Wendy from shinyhappyworld.com, and today I'm going to show you how to join together fabric strips, whether straight strips or bias strips, and also how to run them through a little bias tape maker so you can make single fold bias tape and also double fold bias tape. I'm going to show this to you with bias strips because they are already going to have this angle cut into them, but this is the same technique that I use when I'm joining straight strips as well. You want to have this edge sewn to this edge. But what you can't do is just join them up like that. If you sew them like that, they're going to end up off kilter. So you actually need to shift this up so you have little tails sticking out. And you want this intersection, these points here where they come together, to be about 1/4 of an inch from that cut edge. And you can eyeball it. This does not have to be perfect, but you want it to be roughly 1/4 of an inch. So I've got that laid out, and I'm just going to throw one pin in. And then we're going to take it over to the sewing machine. Okay, we're at the sewing machine now, and what I'm going to do is sew these together with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And I am going to backstitch at the beginning and end. And take it out. Now, if you did your 1/4 inch estimation correctly, then your thread is going to come out right at those points. And when you open it up, you'll see you get a continuous strip of fabric. I actually could have shifted that up a little bit more, but this will work. Now we're going to take it over to the ironing board. The first thing I want to do is to press this seam allowance open so that I can kind of spread out the bulk of that, because one of the reasons that you stitch this on the diagonal is so that you don't end up with a big wad of fabric all in one place like you would on a straight seam. So I'm going to press that open so I can spread the bulk out, and then I'm going to show you how to use this tool. This is a bias tape maker, and this is a size that I use really often. It's 25 millimeters. It'll also say 1 inch on the package. To use it, you cut your strips 1 3/4 inches, and I actually write that on each of my tape makers so that I know what size it needs to, what size strips it uses, and I don't have to save the packaging or anything. And this is how it works. You thread the tail end of your tape through this machine. I'm sorry, I need to flip it over. So I've got my clean edge up now. Thread this into the tape maker. There's a little slit in the top there. You can see it coming out. Now I flip it over, straighten it up, and you can see that it folds my tape for me. And what I want is this fabric to meet in the center. And I'm going to press it as I go. Some people have the ability to do this and kind of pull and press at the same time, but what I like to do is pull a little bit and then press it flat. And that way I can kind of steer it toward the middle if it's going off a little bit. Pull it and press it flat. Pull it and press it flat. And now I'm getting to where the fabric joined up, and that's going to take a little bit of a tug to get through sometimes, and sometimes it just needs a little bit of help joining again toward the middle. Pull it, press it flat. I'm going to do just a little bit more. Pull it and press it flat. Actually, I'm going to go right to the tail end of this because it's very short. Pull this forward so it's in the video camera. So you can do this, kind of follow along with the iron, but sometimes I find it goes a little off when I do that. Alright, what you have here is called single fold bias tape. And this dimension is about 1 inch, and that's what the packaging is referring to when you buy single fold bias tape. I hardly ever use it in this form. I like to use a lot though of double fold bias tape, which is basically single fold bias tape folded in half. And you just fold it in half once more and press it down. Just fold it in half. And for this, you do want to try and keep your edges really well lined up, because you're going to be sewing that on. Ooh, that's hot. You're going to wrap this around an edge and sew through one side, and you want to make sure that your stitching catches the other side. So you do want to be pretty careful to keep those edges as perfectly lined up as you can as you fold and press that in place. So just be pretty meticulous for this part of things. You can, of course, buy packaged bias tape that has all this done already. And if I'm just using a solid color and they have the color I need, that's fine. But if you make your own, then you can make striped bias tape and polka dotted bias tape and floral bias tape and all kinds of cool patterns and things, and really add something special to the items that you're making. So this now is double fold bias tape. And you can see that it's 4 layers thick. Fold them into the center and then fold them in here. And that's it. Okay, now you know how to join together strips of fabric, and you know how to make single fold and double fold bias tape, which means that you can do bound hems, you can do bound seam finishes, you can do quilt bindings, you can do all kinds of fun things that you're going to see in patterns coming up over the next several weeks. I'm Wendy from shinyhappyworld.com. See you next time.